Hi, my name is Joseph Kirby. I am the creator and founder of the multi-partisan, informal, Yes in My Backyard housing group, More Homes Halifax. Tonight, on August 3rd at 6 p.m., there was a public hearing regarding new affordable housing in Dartmouth Cole Harbour. 3 stories, 18 units, brought in by Dartmouth Housing. But of course, they're not allowed to just get their permit and build on it. They have to go through a community consultation process, which they shouldn't have to go to because they shouldn't have to justify to the government why they should be allowed to build deeply affordable housing for our population. These units ranged from 40 to 60% market rate. It is a non-profit housing developer. So why do they have to go through this? They're required to under the HRM charter to have a public consultation about this stuff, continuing to stall our housing crisis further and further into the future while supply stagnates and demand skyrockets. The hearing took place at East Marine Drive in Dartmouth. I'm going to play you some clips from this hearing. First, I'm going to start off with what the developer had to say.
I'm board chair of the Dartmouth Nonprofit Housing Society. We were established in 1982 by the city of Dartmouth, who saw the need even back then for affordable housing. We are the largest non-for-profit affordable housing provider in the Halifax Region municipality. And we believe we're well positioned to contribute to the common goal of increasing the supply of affordable housing in HRM. Under our housing agreement with the province of Nova Scotia, we are required to provide them audited statements every year. So we're completely transparent. Those are all available to the public. So there's nothing private sector about this or corporate about it. Our primary aim in providing affordable housing is to service the hardworking, tightly budgeted sector of the economy and the middle income. Everyone is a working person, family, single moms, moms and dads with kids, seniors. We have a really good mix. They improve the overall community and don't be targeted or set out as a particular social group. I know when you first hear about something like this, you think, oh man, it's going to be all low-income people and it's going to be a mess. Well, I can tell you it's not going to be a mess. Because of the rules, it can't be a mess. It will be a mixed-use building with different levels of income, all working, hard-working families that can't pay $1,500 a month rent and raise 2 kids.
Sounds pretty good to me. Now let's see what the not in my backyard types who we're giving all of this power to for no good reason have to say about what people do on their own property.
We actually live right behind there. We have 2 properties where we're going to have apartments now looking into our direct backyard. And that's an issue for me. Traffic just coming into Circassian is hard enough. We live in 21, we rent out 19, and we're also concerned of our tenants. Yeah. We could lose them.
2 landlords saying the quiet part out loud. You can't build housing that competes with our housing that we're providing because we might lose business because of it. Heaven forbid that these landlords lose their tenants, given that the neighboring apartment complex is far more affordable. How about instead of trying to get the government to engage in regulatory capture in order to satisfy what you want, that you just lower your rents? Is it really so hard to just lower your rent? Thankfully now that the dwelling is going through, they're going to have to. Here's what this NIMBY had to say.
I've been there for 35 years. The street has got so busy now that it's just insane going up and down. I hit every light on the way down to Main Street the other day. I almost lost my mind. This community cannot handle anymore. Winter time's an absolute nightmare trying to find a parking spot. It's not a good spot for that 18 unit building. That's all I can say. Okay, I'm done.
Now you might be listening to that thinking that there's reasonable traffic concerns, but keep in mind that what he just said is exactly what every single NIMBY in every single community, in every single municipality, in every single locality in the entire country has said about every new housing development to ever exist. I genuinely do not believe that these people would be happy with new housing development until there was a stark population decline, for whatever reason, all in the name of reducing traffic. And I understand that traffic can be frustrating, but have you ever considered the fact that some people need to not be homeless? Those were the only NIMBYs that spoke. However, there was an audience full of them. pretty much everybody who went to this hearing in the audience was in favor of blocking this new affordable housing development. You can't quite hear it in the mics, but the atmosphere of that room was openly hostile to the idea. Heckling occurred throughout, and after council voted unanimously in favor of the new development, surprisingly, this happened.
So I will be voting in favor for this tonight, and I'm very thankful as well.
You're
And I am also very and I also very thankful.
respectfully, Councilor Mancini.
Sorry, we're supposed to have security here for that very reason. I'm not sure where they are.
Respectfully, please.
Okay, so
Since you couldn't hear, one of those people, who was angrily standing up and leaving with his mob of people that he decided to bring in to bully the councilors, turned to the councilors and said, "Hey, you want to go?" threateningly to them, which is why the reaction that they had happened. I think Sam Austin gives a pretty good reaction to what that gentleman and all of those people did.
It's easy not to be sympathetic after that ridiculous display.
Of course, the councilors didn't just decide to defy their constituency, as they pretty much never do. Myself, along with Denny Sullivan, two people who were involved in this little housing group, More Homes Halifax, decided to go in and speak our minds. Here is the full, unedited speeches that we gave to the council regarding this.
Hi, Council. Denny Sullivan. I live in Halifax. I thought it was interesting that staff gave neighborhood context. I thought it'd also be helpful to get a bit of the city's context. In 2022, Halifax added 20,000 residents in a single year. In that same year, 2022, we built 3,500 units. So we're currently making 6 people fight over one new housing unit. So I think that to me makes it seem like there's no surprise about all the terrible things that's going on in terms of rent increases, in terms of sky high prices, in terms of people living in the streets. And obviously it's always unfortunate when your neighborhood changes from what you expected it to be. But given the context that the city is living in, that the province is living in, that the country is living in, I think that we need to be bolder. I think we need to build more. And it seems in this particular circumstance that I don't know who, but it seems like there's an opportunity to build even more here. The city has a bus rapid transit plan, which will end, the current plan is to end about 1.5 kilometers from this expected development. There are grocery stores nearby. I don't have a car personally. Going back and forth to the grocery store is my biggest inconvenience. This grocery store will be closer to these residents than mine is to me. Not that it is about me and my interests. It seems like, given the position of council to influence this development, that for some reason we are being way too modest, and that this is a real opportunity to make a difference in terms of many people's lives. Obviously housing is very expensive, but these affordability rates that the proposal have are serious. They're much more ambitious than some of the inclusionary zoning proposals that council is considering, which I've seen in terms of, something like 10 to 20% for a few units. This is the entire building being 40% below average market rents. We need more than just 18 units. And I also think that a lot of people have frustrations about driving and parking. I would state the opposite case, that it seems to me that there's a lot of the land that's giving up to parking from those images, and that actually we should be pushing the developer to not only go higher, but use more of the lot to build homes. I yield my time.
My name is Joseph Kirby. I don't live in Cole Harbour, but I live in Dartmouth. I live close enough to it, I think. I'm from Dartmouth South. And I'm enthusiastically in favor of this new affordable housing development because we are in a housing crisis. We are in a massive housing shortage right now, and we need all the housing we can get. And this is the exact kind of housing that we need in order to solve for that shortage. It's just everything is becoming so unaffordable because of really like a lot of the way that this consultation is set up. There's a lot of zoning ordinances that are preventing new housing like this from being developed in a timely manner to be able to respond to that demand. And it's leading to very, very severe unaffordability issues that are only going to increase over time. If you all vote in favor of this, or if most of you vote in favor of this, the second that this is done, those units are gone. Like they're going to be filled up right away with as the gentleman said, working class people who are here to contribute to our society and make our society better. We have a shortage in labor across all kinds of different things in new home construction, in healthcare, doctors, nurses, long-term care workers, things like that. They can't work here if they don't have a place to live. So we can't address these issues if we don't give them a place to live. And so, again, it's so important to have new housing. And I would strongly recommend too, just for the long term, so we're able to respond to that demand. A lot of these zones that exist that prevent housing like this from being developed, we need to prioritize this new development for those zones. We need to let people build this stuff on all of these zones. R1, R2, they all need to allow this stuff. That's where I know this isn't an R1 or R2 zone, but that's most of the residential zoning in the HRM. It's very, very important. I have a friend a couple years back. She had to skip meals to pay rent for like 3 months. She was in a situation like this. And nobody around her noticed. She didn't tell anybody until myself and her other friends, we started to notice that she lost weight because of this. That's not okay. People can't be in a situation like this because we gatekeep this housing development so much. It's not okay. So please, I would urge you all to vote to allow this development to go through and to change your zoning ordinances so we can respond to those demands for the long term. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And after all was said and done, council voted unanimously in favor of this new affordable housing development.
Anyone opposed?
Okay.
I'm Matt, pass the chair back to you, Madam Chair.
So just remember, everybody, get out to these hearings if you can. Follow the HRM on all social media. They always announce when they're having them. And follow More Homes Halifax on Twitter if you are interested in these sort of yes in my backyard pro-housing ideas so you can get involved with what we're doing. And fight back against the NIMBY menace that is plaguing our city. Thank you.